we are going to be making an old recipe. My dad come across it. I don't know if he invented it, if he found it in a book, how he came about it, but he found it the first time I ever got a moose during hunting season. And so we call it Dad's Moose Hot Sausage. I don't have any moose right now, so what we're going to use is ground beef. We've used this recipe with deer, elk, basically any wild game. It works really well with lean meats of wild game. It incorporates pork meat for the fat. We may not need that with this ground beef, but we just got this ground beef. First time we've worked with this ranch for beef, and with the history we've had with them, with the pig we've ordered through them, it's really lean. They cut it really lean, so I'm expecting this beef to be quite lean. If you want to make it with beef, I would suggest going with a lean, extra lean, and using the ground pork anyways, because it does add that bit of flavor as well. But what you'll need is, you need a couple of measuring spoons. You need I'd say a half tablespoon, as well as 1 tablespoon to make the measuring a little bit easier. And you need either a teaspoon or a half teaspoon measuring spoon. And then you need 8 pounds of whatever the red meat is that you want to use. Moose, elk, cow, doesn't matter. And then 2 pounds of pork, and this makes 8 pounds of sausage. On top of that, you'll need a really big mixing bowl. And then for ingredients, you need garlic. The recipe calls for a garlic powder, but I've been really liking this granulated garlic over using like a powder or the salt. It's really got really nice flavor. Black pepper, crushed red peppers. I ran out. I had half of what the recipe calls for, so I substituted the other half for crushed chilies. This is subjective. You can use how much or how little you want, and adjust the heat of the sausage based off of that. You could go full just chilies, or full peppers, or half of that, more of it, whatever, however your palate loves or hates heat. And then sage, onion salt, and paprika. Okay, so normally what we would do when we're doing this as we're processing our game meat is we would actually mix it as whole meat. So we'd cube it up and then mix all the seasonings in there, throw in the ground pork, mix that all up, and then we'd actually run it through the grinder with all the seasonings and everything. We'd run it through once with a coarse grind it, and then mix it all up a bit more by hand, and then run it back through on a fine grind. And then basically the process of grinding the meat and everything together will give you a really good seasoning mix for the sausage. We're working with pre-grind, so we're going to get this just in here. We're going to put in the seasonings. I'll probably sprinkle them in a bit, mix it up, sprinkle them in a bit, mix it up, so we get a really good mix that way. And then we're basically gonna cover it up with some saran and put it in the fridge for 12 to 24 hours. Just let those seasonings permeate all the meat. So let's get to it. Okay, we've got all the meat in here. We're just going to give it an initial mix up here, get the beef and the pork mixed together. And as I suspected, this beef is looking really lean. So the bit of extra fat that is in the pork is gonna is going to help that out. And then the pork will also add some flavor. Oh, that is cold on the hands. All right, so we're gonna sprinkle in a bit of the first bit of the seasonings. Not all of it. We want to try to get that nice spread of the seasonings throughout all the meat. So I think I'm going to do probably about half of everything. So this is the peppers, bit of chili pepper, bit of crushed red pepper, the sage, the onion salt, is it? Or yeah, onion salt. And then the paprika. And this is really going to give it some color there with a nice red of that paprika. There's a lot of that in there. We're just going to mix it in best we can. Try to coat it, you know, get it mixed throughout the meat really well. This is a lot of meat to work with, you know, 10 pounds total. So, you know, you could always cut it down, cut the recipe in half, make 5 pounds at a time instead. But we're getting ready for the camping season here and getting some nice sausage. This sausage, man, like, we used to just, once we were done mixing it in, letting it set, stuff like that, we would roll it into logs. You know, about yay in diameter, you know, and, you know, 6-inch logs or so. And then we'd wrap it back up in butcher wrap, throw it in the freezer. And when you wanted some, you just pull a log out and use a serrated blade and basically saw your way through it, cut some nice discs, some nice patties, you know, however thick you wanted. Heat up a nice cast iron pan, get it good and warm, and then throw them in, cook them up. And then in the bit of grease that was left behind from the pork, you'd fry up your eggs, couple of eggs, go with it, and that was, you know, that was breakfast. That was a great breakfast. It'd be a nice even dinner after a long day's hunting, stuff like that. If we were out at camp and we had the ability to go back to camp for lunch that day or something, it'd make a great lunch. Give you lots of fat and protein to carry on the hunt for the rest of the day. Like, just smelling this, even though it's not with game meat, just makes me remember, you know, hunting with my dad, hunting with my brother-in-law. You know, we used to get together usually for at least one good week and have a nice hunting camp and chase elk, deer, whatever we could get tags for, and then we'd all hunt together whenever, you know, work and school and stuff allowed for the rest of the season as well. So getting that mixed in pretty good. I think we'll sprinkle in the rest of these seasonings. I ended up getting an okay whitetail this season, and we happened to just get basically exactly 8 pounds of ground after processing it here. And so I actually made some of this with my whitetail, and brought some down to my dad. He can't hunt no more, so he appreciates that. And yeah, he really liked it. Said it was awesome. The only thing was I didn't make it to hot enough for his liking. He definitely would have went heavier on the chilies than I did, but which I went a little heavier this time around, and we'll see how it turns out. Not everybody in my family likes, you know, hot, spicy foods, and I'm getting away from liking the stuff that's just, you know, burn your mouth off hot. I like spice. I like, you know, I like the heat a bit, but I still want to be able to taste what I'm eating. So I'm trying to, you know, find that nice balance where I get that heat, and at the same time I can still, you know, I still taste all the different seasonings and everything else, and make it a good meal. So it's going to take another couple minutes of me mixing here. Why don't we just skip ahead? Editing me can take care of that. Okay, so we've been mixing this for a little while now, and we got a nice uniform color. That paprika really gave it a nice redness to it. You can see the crushed red pepper and chilies pretty well mixed in there. Stuff like that. Looks really good. So we're gonna, oh man, that smells good. We're gonna just wrap this up with some plastic wrap, cover it, throw it in the fridge, and tomorrow night we'll get it made into patties and package it up. You'll see me in a couple of seconds. I'll see you tomorrow. we are done packaging them all up. As you can tell, like you can see the vacuum itself of the vacuum sealer kind of squishes the patties together. In the past, from doing hamburgers, we've actually just know that like when they're frozen, this is a very poor bond in between the two patties, and you can just snap it while they're still frozen and then cook these right from frozen. So we acquired, what do we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 packages of 3 patties in each package. So that's 14, 28, 30, 42 patties there. Plus 4 more in this package, which gives us 46. We are making 6 for dinner tonight with some eggs. That's 52 patties, and we cooked 2 for the taste test. So what's that put us up to? 54 patties, if I remember the numbers correctly. So, you know, that's not a bad yield out of 10 pounds of well, 8 pounds of beef and 2 pounds of pork, but 10 pounds of meat total. And we know everything that's in it. We made it to our tastes. We know it's absolutely carb free. There's no, you know, filler, no breadcrumbs, no nothing like that in there. So now we got sausage to get us through the summer, maybe even into the early part of hunting season. So if you like this recipe, I'll actually have the recipe in the comments below, and links to any of the stuff we used, the seasonings, all that, for your convenience there. Please, you know, if you found value in this video, please subscribe to the channel. It will help us out, and ring the bell so you get notifications for more videos. We're gonna keep cooking and experimenting and see where we get to. Thank you for watching.